The alien ship appeared over Seoul without warning on a clear morning in March 2035. It hovered silently, a massive disk of unknown metal that reflected the sunlight like polished obsidian. For 3 days, it made no contact while the world watched and waited. Admiral Sunmi Park stood at the window of the United Nations Emergency Response Center, her hands clasped behind her back. As head of Earth's hastily assembled First Contact Division, she carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. "They're requesting a meeting," said her aide, rushing into the room. "One representative." They'd designated an arrival point. The meeting location was a simple conference room in the UN building. Park sat alone at the table when the air shimmered and an alien appeared. It stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent skin that shifted colors with each movement. 4 arms extended from its torso, and its face featured 3 large eyes arranged in a triangle. "I am coordinator of the Galactic Concord," it said, its voice coming from a small device at what might be its throat. "We have observed your planet for decades." Park nodded politely. "Earth welcomes peaceful contact with other civilizations." The alien made a sound like water over stones. "The Concord encompasses 5,000 star systems. We bring order to chaos. Your species has potential but lacks discipline. You will join the Concord as a protected territory." "Protected territory?" Park asked carefully. "You will be guided by Concord representatives. Your resources will be managed. Your conflicts ended. Your development directed." Park felt a chill. Earth would prefer to join as an equal member, maintaining our sovereignty. The alien's skin flashed red. "Equality is earned through advancement. Your species is primitive, violent, divided. The Concord's decision is final. We cannot accept terms that remove our self-determination," Park said firmly. The alien stepped closer. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. You will submit or face extinction. The Concord does not tolerate disorder in its territory." After the alien departed, Park rushed to the emergency summit of world leaders. Representatives from every nation had gathered, their faces grim as she relayed the encounter. "They've given us 30 days to prepare for their return," she concluded. "At that time, they expect our formal submission." The Chinese premier stood first. "We cannot surrender Earth to these beings." "But how can we fight an interstellar civilization?" asked the German chancellor. While the debate raged, Dr. Jinho Kim, a leading geneticist, approached Park quietly. "Admiral, my team has been analyzing the biological data we gathered during the meeting. The alien's cellular structure has remarkable properties, but there's something else. They seem especially interested in human genetic adaptability." "Explain," Park said. "Humans have an unusual capacity for genetic modification and neural plasticity. It's something we've only begun to fully understand ourselves." Dr. Kim lowered his voice. "I believe they see us as a threat because of this potential. We might develop in ways they can't predict or control." Park considered this information. "Could we use this advantage?" "Theoretically," Kim replied. "My team has been working on genetic enhancement protocols for medical applications. With proper funding and military cooperation, we could potentially develop soldiers with enhanced capabilities." Park's mind raced. "How long would you need?" "Months, at minimum. But the results could be significant." The next day, Park presented a 2-part strategy to the world leadership. First, a diplomatic team would engage with the Concord to buy time. Meanwhile, a classified program called the Prometheus Initiative would develop enhanced human soldiers capable of defending Earth. "We need volunteers from military special forces worldwide," she explained. "And we need complete cooperation between scientific communities." The vote was unanimous. As the meeting adjourned, the American president approached Park. "Do you really think we can resist an interstellar civilization?" Park looked out at the alien ship still hovering in the distance. "Throughout history, humans have faced overwhelming odds and survived. They expect us to kneel. Instead, we'll show them what humanity does best: adapt and overcome." That night, as Dr. Kim began assembling his research team, the first volunteers arrived at the secret facility built beneath Mount Taibik. Captain Tae-woo Lee, a decorated Special Forces soldier, was first in line. "Why volunteer for an experimental procedure?" Park asked him. Lee stood straight, his expression determined. "My grandfather once told me that freedom is worth any price. I believe that's true for all humanity, not just Korea." Park nodded. "Welcome to the Prometheus Initiative, Captain. Let's hope it's enough." Captain Tae-woo Lee lay on the operating table, his heart beating steadily as Dr. Kim prepared the injection. 20 days had passed since the alien ultimatum, and the Prometheus Initiative had moved from theory to desperate action. "This will hurt," Dr. Kim said quietly. "The nanites will restructure your muscle tissue and neural pathways." Lee nodded. "I understand the risks." The clear liquid entered his veins, burning like fire. Lee gritted his teeth, refusing to scream as the pain spread through his body. Around him, 11 other soldiers from different nations underwent the same procedure, each chosen for their exceptional physical and mental resilience. For 3 days, Lee drifted between consciousness and dreams filled with strange patterns and equations he somehow understood. When he finally opened his eyes, the world looked different, sharper, with details he had never noticed before. "Try to stand," Dr. Kim said. Lee swung his legs over the edge of the bed and stood up. He felt lighter yet stronger. He flexed his hand, watching the muscles respond with perfect precision. "How do you feel?" asked Colonel Min Yoon, the military overseer of the project. "Different," Lee replied. "Better." Testing revealed the extent of the changes. Lee could run at speeds approaching 70 kilometers per hour. He could lift over 3 times his previous maximum weight. His reaction time had decreased to milliseconds. Most remarkably, his brain processed information at an accelerated rate, allowing him to solve complex problems almost instantly. "The nanites have integrated with your cells," Dr. Kim explained during a briefing. "They enhance your natural abilities rather than replacing them. You're still human, just more." The 12 enhanced soldiers began training together, learning to control their new abilities. Sergeant Ji-hai Kong, formerly of South Korean Special Forces, could now hit targets at impossible distances. Private Hyunwoo Park could process vast amounts of data, making him a natural tactician. Each Promethean, as they were now called, developed unique strengths. 28 days after the alien ultimatum, the Concorde ship moved from its stationary position to lunar orbit. Smaller crafts deployed to the moon's surface. "They're establishing a forward base," Colonel Yoon reported during an emergency meeting. "Our satellite data suggests they're preparing for a larger arrival." Admiral Park looked grim. "The diplomatic team has been stonewalled. The Concorde refuses any terms except complete submission." "The Prometheans are ready," Lee stated. He stood taller now, his uniform specially designed to accommodate his enhanced physiology. "We can deploy immediately." Admiral Park studied the 12 soldiers before her. They were humanity's best hope, yet so few against an interstellar power. "Very well," she finally said. "Your mission is to disable the lunar base and gather intelligence. We need to understand their technology and tactics." 6 hours later, Lee led his team aboard Earth's most advanced spacecraft. The journey to the moon took just under 3 hours, remarkably fast by previous standards but still primitive compared to alien technology. They landed 2 kilometers from the alien outpost in the Sea of Tranquility. As they stepped onto the lunar surface, their specialized suits enhanced by the same technology that had transformed their bodies, Lee felt a strange sense of destiny. "Remember the plan," he said over the secure channel. "Teams of 2. Minimal engagement. Our priority is intelligence gathering." The alien base was larger than expected, with strange machinery already mining into the lunar regolith. Lee and Sergeant Kong approached from the north while the others took different angles. Their enhanced vision allowed them to see the aliens clearly, different types with varied physiologies, suggesting a coalition of species. "Their security is focused outward," Kong whispered. "They don't expect resistance here." Lee nodded. Let's move. They slipped past the perimeter sensors, their suits designed to mask their presence. Inside the base, they downloaded data from alien terminals while placing small explosive charges at key structural points. They were nearly complete when an alarm sounded. An alien security team rounded the corner, weapons raised. Without hesitation, Lee moved at his enhanced speed, disarming the first alien before it could fire. Kong took down 2 more with precise strikes. All teams, abort mission, Lee commanded. Return to extraction point. The fight to escape was brutal. 2 Prometheans fell, their enhanced bodies still vulnerable to alien weapons. But they inflicted heavy casualties, shocking the aliens with human capabilities they clearly hadn't expected. As their ship broke lunar orbit, Lee watched the alien base erupt in carefully controlled explosions. The mission was a success, they had valuable intelligence and had dealt the first blow. Back on Earth, Admiral Park reviewed their findings with growing hope. The Concorde isn't invincible, she said. And now they know we won't kneel without a fight. Lee looked at his remaining team, their faces determined despite their losses. Next time, he said quietly, we'll be ready for them. The response from the Concorde was swift and terrible. 3 days after the lunar mission, 15 massive warships appeared in Earth's orbit. Each was at least a mile long, bristling with weapons unlike anything human scientists had ever seen. Admiral Park stood in the Global Command Center beneath Seoul, watching the tactical display with growing concern. Around her, military leaders from every major nation waited in tense silence. They're positioning for a coordinated assault, said Lieutenant Ji-Hai Kong, her enhanced mind processing the orbital data faster than the computers. Now recovered from the lunar mission, she stood with the remaining Prometheans at the ready. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Park nodded, and the face of the Concorde commander appeared a different alien from their first contact, this one with hardened plates across its face and a military bearing that transcended species. Your resistance is noted, the alien said without preamble. It changes nothing. Submit now, or we will demonstrate our power. Park met its gaze steadily. The people of Earth choose freedom. We will not submit to rule without representation. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. Then watch as your choice brings destruction. The screen went dark. Moments later, the tactical display showed energy buildups in the alien vessels. They're targeting major cities, Colonel Yoon shouted. Seoul, New York, Beijing, London. Activate the shield network, Park ordered. All around the world, hidden emitters powered up. Based on technology reverse-engineered from the lunar base data, a shimmering energy field formed in the upper atmosphere. The first alien barrage hit the shields with blinding intensity. The command center shook, but the shields held. Shields at 60% capacity, reported an officer. They're already adapting their weapons. Captain Lee stepped forward. Admiral, we need to take the fight to them. The Prometheans are ready. Park looked at the 10 remaining enhanced soldiers. In the weeks since the lunar mission, 30 more volunteers had completed the enhancement process, but only the original team had combat experience against the aliens. The new orbital platforms are ready, Yoon added. Limited functionality, but they could provide cover. Park weighed her options quickly. Launch Operation Thunderstrike. Within the hour, 5 small, stealth craft rose from hidden bases around the world. Each carried a team of Prometheans armed with weapons designed specifically for the coming battle. Captain Lee led the primary strike team, targeting the alien flagship. Approaching target, Lee reported as his craft slipped through a gap in the alien formation. Their shields are cycling every 4.3 seconds. We'll insert during the next cycle. His pilot, herself enhanced, timed their approach perfectly. The small craft skimmed along the surface of the massive alien vessel, finding a docking port identified from the lunar base data. Lee's team moved through the alien ship with practiced precision. Their enhanced bodies allowed them to adapt quickly to the different gravity and air composition. They encountered resistance almost immediately, alien soldiers with advanced weapons and armor. They've improved their tactics, Sergeant Hyun-woo Park noted as he dodged enemy fire. They're expecting enhanced humans now. Despite the resistance, the Prometheans pushed forward to the ship's command center. Lee had just placed explosive charges on what they believed was the main power conduit when a massive alien in gleaming armor blocked their path. "Your species surprises us," it said in perfect Korean. "But this resistance is futile." The fight that followed tested even Lee's enhanced capabilities. The alien commander was incredibly strong and fast, clearly modified for combat much like the Prometheans. Lee suffered a deep wound to his side before finally overcoming the alien with a combination of speed and tactical thinking. "Charges set," he reported through gritted teeth. "All teams, begin extraction." Across the alien fleet, similar scenes played out as Promethean teams targeted key systems. Not all would make it back, 3 teams were lost entirely, but the damage they inflicted was catastrophic. As Lee's craft pulled away from the flagship, the explosions began. Chain reactions rippled through the alien vessel, tearing it apart from within. 3 other Concorde ships suffered similar fates. Back on Earth, Admiral Park watched the orbital battle with mixed emotions. They had won a significant victory, but at terrible cost. Half the Prometheans who launched were now dead or missing. "The remaining alien ships are retreating," Colonel Yoon announced. "They're heading to the outer solar system." "They'll be back," Park said quietly. "With more ships and better tactics." When Captain Lee's team finally returned to base, they brought something invaluable: the body of the alien commander and intact pieces of advanced technology. Dr. Kim immediately began analysis, his team working around the clock. 3 days later, he presented his findings to Admiral Park and the surviving Prometheans. "The alien commander was enhanced using methods similar to ours," he explained. "But there's more. I've isolated their communication technology. With modifications, we could potentially track their movements throughout the solar system." Park turned to Lee, who was still recovering from his wounds. "What's your assessment, Captain?" Lee's expression was grim but determined. "They underestimated us once. They won't make that mistake again. We need more Prometheans, better weapons, and ships that can match theirs." Park nodded. "Then that's what we'll build. The Concorde wanted us to kneel. Instead, we'll stand and fight." 1 year passed after the aliens' retreat. Earth changed in ways unimaginable before first contact. Cities now had permanent shield domes. Factories that once made cars now built spacecraft parts. And beneath Mount Tybeek, the Prometheus program had expanded beyond all expectations. Colonel Tae-woo Lee stood before the viewing window, watching as 200 Prometheans ran combat drills in the massive underground chamber. Their movements were almost too fast for normal humans to follow. "The 5th-generation enhancements are holding well," Dr. Kim said, standing beside him. The scientist looked tired but proud. "We've eliminated the cellular degradation issues." Lee nodded. His own body had been upgraded twice since the first enhancement procedure. He could now process information faster than any computer on Earth and had strength that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. "And the ship?" Lee asked. "Ready for its first official mission," Dr. Kim replied with a small smile. "Admiral Park wants you on the bridge when they power up the drive." The UES Defiance rested in a massive underground hangar built into a mountain range. At nearly half a kilometer long, it represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a warship constructed using reverse-engineered Concorde technology. Its hull gleamed with a metal alloy that didn't exist on Earth before the aliens came. Admiral Park greeted Lee as he entered the bridge. "Colonel, perfect timing. We're about to test the FTL drive." The bridge was staffed entirely by enhanced humans. Lieutenant Ji-hai Kong, now head of tactical operations, nodded to Lee from her station. "All systems ready," she reported. "Jump calculations complete." Park gave the order, and the Defiance hummed with power. Through the viewscreen, Lee watched as space itself seemed to bend. Then, with a flash of light, they were somewhere else orbiting Jupiter. "Jump successful," Kong announced. "All systems functional." A cheer went up from the crew. Earth's first faster-than-light jump had just been completed successfully. Now for the real mission, Park said, her expression turning serious. Intelligence Officer Soyeon Ryu, please brief the Colonel. Ryu stepped forward, her enhanced memory allowing her to present without notes. 3 months ago, we detected a Concord communication about a planet called Aridus. It's a mining world where they're holding alien prisoners, species that resisted Concord rule. Based on the transmissions we've decoded, these prisoners might become valuable allies. A rescue mission, Lee said, understanding immediately. Exactly, Park confirmed. We're taking the fight to them, Colonel. And hopefully finding friends in the process. 2 days later, the Defiance dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Aridus system. The planet looked barren and red from a distance, its surface scarred by massive mining operations. Concord presence detected, Khan reported. 2 patrol ships in orbit and a ground base. Lee studied the tactical display. Their patrol pattern leaves a gap every 14 minutes. We can insert a strike team and be on the surface before they detect us. Park approved the plan. 1 hour later, Lee led a team of 40 Prometheans toward the surface in stealth drop pods. Their mission, locate the prison facility and free potential allies. The landing was smooth, and the team moved across the rocky surface with practiced efficiency. When they reached the prison complex, Lee was shocked by what they found. The facility held thousands of aliens from at least 6 different species, all forced to work in brutal conditions mining rare minerals. These aren't just prisoners, Lee said as they observed from a ridge. This is slavery. The prison break was chaotic but effective. Using their enhanced abilities, the Prometheans overwhelmed the Concord guards. As alarms blared, Lee found himself facing a group of tall, blue-skinned aliens who seemed to be leaders among the prisoners. We are humans, from Earth, Lee explained through his translator. We're fighting the Concord and came to free you. The tallest alien stepped forward. I am Nara of the Celerin. My people have been imprisoned here for 50 cycles for refusing Concord rule. She studied Lee carefully. You are modified. Like the Concord elites. We enhanced ourselves to fight them, Lee confirmed. Will you join us? As the prisoners were loaded onto transport ships, the Concord patrol vessels finally detected the intrusion. They moved to intercept, but the Defiance emerged from behind the planet's moon, its weapons blazing with energy technology Earth had not possessed a year earlier. The battle was brief but decisive. When it ended, the Defiance had sustained damage, but both Concord ships were destroyed. Back on the ship, Admiral Park met with the leaders of the freed species. The Concord told us we were alone in resisting them, she said. They lied. Nara nodded solemnly. There are many who fight, but separately we are weak. Together, Lee finished, we can show the Concord that free people will never kneel. As the Defiance prepared to jump back to Earth with its new allies, Lee looked at the stars displayed on the viewscreen. For the first time since the aliens had arrived demanding submission, he felt genuine hope for the future. The grand hall of the former Concord Command Center stretched before General Tae-woo Lee as he walked slowly toward the central platform. 5 years had passed since that first alien ultimatum. 5 years of struggle, sacrifice, and transformation. His enhanced body showed few signs of age, but the weight of leadership had left its mark in other ways. They're ready for you, General, said Lieutenant Ji-hai Khan, now his second in command. The years had hardened her, but her loyalty remained unshakable. The hall was filled with representatives from 27 different species, former slaves, conquered worlds, and even defectors from the Concord itself. All had joined Earth's growing coalition after the Prometheus forces had demonstrated that resistance was possible. Lee took his position beside Admiral Sunny Park. At 63, she had refused enhancement treatments, preferring to age naturally. Despite this, her presence commanded respect from every being in the room. 3 days ago, Park began, her voice carrying through the perfect acoustics. The last Concord stronghold surrendered to coalition forces. Their high command has been captured. Their fleet is scattered or destroyed. After 5 years of war, we have won. A roar of approval filled the hall, each species celebrating in their own way. The blueskin Celerin raised their arms in silence. The crystalline Moravians chimed together in harmony. The humans cheered and applauded. But victory brings responsibility, Park continued when the noise subsided. We did not fight simply to replace one empire with another. We fought for freedom, for the right of all sentient beings to choose their own path. Lee stepped forward. Today, we signed the charter of the new alliance. Not an empire. Not a concord. An alliance of equals. The first to sign was Nara of the Celerin, whose people had fought alongside humans since their liberation from the mining world. Then came representatives from each freed world, each adding their mark to the document that would reshape galactic politics. When the ceremony concluded, Lee found himself looking out over the capital city of what had once been the seat of Concord power. The architecture was strange and beautiful, designed by beings with different concepts of form and function. Hard to believe it's over, came a voice beside him. Dr. Jinho Kim looked tired but satisfied. The scientist who had created the first Prometheans had gone on to adapt the technology for healing and cooperation rather than just warfare. Is it really over? Lee asked quietly. The war is, Kim replied. But our work is just beginning. Later that evening, Lee met with the coalition's leadership council in a smaller chamber. The mood was more somber here, with detailed reports of the aftermath being discussed. Many former Concord worlds are in chaos, reported Nara. Their populations were kept dependent on central authority for generations. They don't know how to govern themselves. And the Promethean soldiers, asked a reptilian representative from the outer systems. What becomes of your enhanced humans now that the war is won? Lee had been expecting this question. Some will help maintain peace during the transition. Others will return to Earth or explore the stars. All will have a choice. And the enhancement technology, pressed another representative. Admiral Park stepped in. Will be shared for medical purposes only. No more soldiers will be created. We didn't fight the Concord to become like them. The meeting continued late into the night, addressing the 1,000 complications that came with rebuilding a fractured galaxy. When it finally ended, Lee found himself walking alone through the gardens of the palace complex. A soft glow caught his attention, a memorial erected to honor those lost in the war. Names from dozens of species scrolled slowly across its surface. Lee found himself searching for human names he knew, soldiers who had fought beside him and never returned home. They would be proud, said Admiral Park, joining him quietly. We refuse to kneel, but we also refuse to conquer. That's what makes us different from the Concord. Lee nodded. What happens now? Now. Park smiled slightly. Now we build something better. Earth has been accepted as a full member of the galactic community. Our science teams are working with other species on problems we couldn't have imagined solving alone. Children on a dozen worlds are learning about the humans who helped free them. As they walked back toward the council buildings, a small group of alien children stopped and stared at Lee with wide eyes. One of them, a young Celerin, approached hesitantly. Are you him? The human who wouldn't kneel, the child asked in carefully practiced English. Lee knelt down to meet the child's eyes. We are all people who wouldn't kneel, he said gently. And that's why we're free. As the sun set over the alien horizon, ships from dozens of worlds moved peacefully through the skies. On the platform where just years before the Concord had demanded universal submission, representatives from formerly oppressed species now worked together as equals. The galaxy had asked humanity to kneel. Earth had responded with strength. But in the end, they had won with something more powerful than enhanced soldiers, the simple, unbreakable human refusal to surrender freedom.